Hello again. So far, we've learned that the biases we have as people can end up creating biased data. We're biased when we have preferences based on our own preconceived or even subconscious notions. When data is biased, it can systematically skew results in certain direction, making them unreliable. We covered this earlier using sampling bias as an example. Sampling bias is when a sample isn't representative of the population as a whole. You can avoid this by making sure the sample is chosen at random so that all parts of the population have an equal chance of being chosen. If you don't use random sampling during data collection, you end up favoring one outcome. Here's a simple way to look at it. Let's say there's 50 students in one class, and you want to know if the majority prefers warm weather or cold weather. You decide to survey 10 female students and determine that the class prefers warm weather. But wait, there's some bias here. Your survey wasn't a fair representation of the entire class because it didn't include males and non-binary students. If you'd used a more randomized sample of the population that included all genders, you'd have an unbiased sample. Unbiased sampling is a sample that's representative of the population being measured. Another great way to discover if you're working with unbiased data is to bring the results to life with visualizations. In the class example we just covered, you could visualize the number of male and female students in the class overall with a bar chart. You could then compare that to a similar bar chart showing the number of male and female students you surveyed. This will help you easily identify any big issues with your sample. As a general rule, it's our goal as data analysts to avoid bias. But believe it or not, there are actually situations where a biased sample can come in handy. If you're trying to get more actionable data, bias can help you narrow your focus. For example, if you were trying to predict and plan a company's budget for the coming year, you'd probably check out last year's sales. You're technically using biased data because it's not taking into account other variables, but it is helping you narrow your focus. Okay, now that we know what bias looks like from a sampling perspective, let's explore some other types of bias and how to recognize them. Coming up next.